We are now at about 770,000 homes and businesses that are without power, and hundreds, if not clearly thousands of lines are down or damaged
Yeah,
across
what's
Connecticut.
so disconcerting is that number seems to keep going up.
Yeah.
And here are some tips to remember. Stay away from the lines. You cannot tell if a wire is live without special equipment. Be cautious if you go outside to check your damage. Down or hanging wires could be hidden. And finally, do not touch or attempt to move those down lines.
Right now, let's check in with meteorologist Ryan Hanrahan. He's live outside our studio with a look at kind of the historical perspective of this storm, which is literally record-breaking in several ways, Ryan.
Yeah, and you know, record-breaking almost isn't the word, Brad. Record-shattering, this is unprecedented. There really aren't even any records for what we were able to do yesterday with one of the most unusual, bizarre, rare, and unprecedented meteorological events we've seen in a long, long time. Now, I want to show you this. I want to step back and take a look at this tree right here. I'm beginning to see a lot of melting, which is really good news. The snow is beginning to melt off these trees, but take a look at this. These trees have snowballs on them. I mean, this was a snowball that's probably, what, about 3 or 4 inches in diameter that was just stuck on some leaves, and that's the problem with the leaves on the trees. It increases the surface area of the trees, and it gives a lot more space for the snow to accumulate, especially a heavy, wet, thick snow. The temperatures during the storm were about 32, 33, 34, so the snow was very pasty, and it stuck to everything, and that's why we're looking at unprecedented damage across inland Connecticut. This is worse probably than the 1973 ice storm that did a ton of damage across the state. This is probably up there in terms of damage to trees and power lines. All right, let's take a look at some pictures that we have sent in to us from some of our viewers out there. Here's one picture sent in from Barbara in East Haddam. They dressed the snowman up for Halloween. I guess very fitting to give the snowman a costume, as we are 2 days before Halloween, or 1 day, I guess, now. Natalie in Southbury, she's trapped in her house. Take a look at the trees bending over her driveway right there at the entrance to the road. And then I think Natalie took a little bit of a walk for us. This is at the other end of her road. If she was able to get the car out of the driveway, she wouldn't be able to go very far because she has a huge tree just laying across the road in Southbury. And I think we're going to see pictures like that playing out with a lot of people stuck in their houses for quite some time. But I wanted to end with this picture. Nancy in Mystic sent in this picture looking over the Mystic River. Beautiful sunshine and only about an inch of snow in Mystic. So if you don't like the snow, the place to move is down by the Mystic River, I guess. All right, so it is beautiful out here, but we have a tremendous amount of damage. So stay safe today. Unfortunately, it's going to be a long time before people get their power back in one of the most destructive storms we've seen, probably the most destructive winter storm we've seen in at least 100 years here in Connecticut. Brad and Shirley, back to you.
Thank you so much, Ryan. And people have been out and about in the storm, for better or worse, and they've been helping us cover the details in the various cities and towns with your photos.
And here's a look at some of the photos that we've gotten in the past 24 hours.
In many neighborhoods in Connecticut, this is what people are waking up to. Snow-covered debris everywhere. Nicole from East Haven took this picture. You can see several trees once weighed down by snow are now littering the street. To Plainville now, where one family will need serious repairs after a tree branch impaled part of their home. Kristen took this picture. You can see how the branch managed to take out some insulation along with part of the roof. People trying to get into Connecticut had a rough time as well. This is a picture from Ray, who lives in New Britain but was stranded on the Metro North coming from New York. Also this morning, some people are waking up in the dark thanks to power outages. Melissa snapped this picture of a utility pole on fire, which is usually caused when a transformer blows. Overnight, the highest number of CL&P customers without power was more than 710,000. And this morning, if people aren't outside shoveling, they're out there trying to remove large trees that are now on the ground. Brett in New Milford snapped this picture of a tree actually split 3 ways. Looks like today will be an extra long one for whoever has to clean it up.
And if you're going outside to take those photos, we want to urge you to stay safe, be careful, look out for those down power lines. If you do have photos, send them to photos@nbcconnecticut.com. There's also a slideshow on our website.
We want to let you know we're not going anywhere. Keep it right here with continuing coverage of this weather alert. An historic nor'easter slamming Connecticut. It's October 30th, people. Unbelievable stuff. We leave you for just 2 minutes with a live picture from Waterbury. See you on the other side.
News starts now.
10 a.m. this Sunday, you're looking live over West Hartford. Snow, wind, rain, and massive power outages after historic nor'easter rolls through the region. We are waking up to quite the mess, folks. And if you're watching, you are certainly one of the lucky ones with power. Good morning and thank you for tuning in. I'm Shirley Chan.
I'm Brad Drazen. We continue our coverage on this Sunday with the biggest issue, which are the power problems. A short time ago, the governor updated all of us on the extent of these outages. We're looking at more than 770,000 homes and businesses across Connecticut that are without power right now. And CLNP has warned this to plan for a worst case scenario that those without power could remain so for a week or more. There are 27 warming centers set up across the state right now. The governor's trying to get more open over the next few hours. If you want information about those, call 211. Also right now, 4 hospitals in the state are working on generator power. Now, for those of you without power, those of you with power watching us saying, okay, we're the lucky ones, but the people who really need the information the most don't have the power. So we're asking you to help us to reach out to people. We're doing what we can to bring you live coverage of this storm. We're streaming live at NBCConnecticut.com. We also have our live broadcast set up through Ustream, U-S-T-R-E-A-M. It's an app that can be downloaded to a smartphone, to an iPad or computer. So if you would reach out to people you know are in the dark via the wireless device, let them know they can stay informed by getting Ustream or going to NBCConnecticut.com.
Now, a little while ago, the governor held a news conference. NBC Connecticut's Monica Buchanan was at the governor's news conference. She joins us live this morning from Hartford. Monica, good morning.
Good morning, Shirley. What a difference 12 hours can make. Completely blue skies out here. In fact, it kind of looks like it's raining behind me, but that's all the snow that was sitting on the trees melting. It brought down plenty of limbs along with it. However, overnight, a lot of these limbs falling into the power lines. You know, at that news conference today, the governor called this unprecedented storm damage. He says this is going to be a massive, a large-scale cleanup effort today. Again, just take a look at some of these limbs down, even right here. I mean, large limbs completely snapped from the weight of the snow and the leaves falling into these power lines. Again, we're told that there are record power outages for CLNP. They've got a very long and tedious journey ahead of them. Again, they're telling customers to expect to be without power for as much as a week, perhaps even more. They do have 300 crews out on the roads today. They have requested an additional 1,000 crews, both line crews and tree crews, because they know they have got a very uphill battle with this, all this damage everywhere. They're asking folks, you know, stay off the roads if you can and allow those line crews to get in and get where they need to be so that they can get power restored to the state. You know, if you take a look here on Zion Street, you're going to see this yellow fire line put up here so folks know not to come down this street. We spoke to one woman this morning who works at Hartford Hospital. She was trying to get to work, and she said a lot of roads didn't even have this yellow warning, and she was pretty scared trying to make that journey. Take a listen.
I have to stop a police officer and tell them on Deerfield Street off Albany Avenue, the power lines was down. There's no police officer out there to block the street off to let me know. Me and my daughter was in the car. My daughter, Mommy, are you scared? I said, hell yeah.
I will be straight up with everyone. We're going to have extensive and long-term power outages, and I am advised that it, at least initially, looks like some people could be without power for as much as a week.
Now, again, with all the snow melting this morning and the sunshine, Governor Malloy says he fully expects there to be even more limbs coming down throughout the day. He is urging that people be careful to stay home if at all possible. Again, Brad mentioned the 27 warming centers that will be open throughout the state. Again, you can call 211 if you're looking for information on that. For now, we're live in Hartford. Monica Buchanan, NBC Connecticut News.
Okay, Monica, thank you. Now, this storm
that we found on YouTube to show you amazing stuff here. Check this carefully. You can see the transformer explode thanks to the weight of the fallen tree branch on the lines.
That video really says it all, doesn't it? Okay, and check out this video from Torrington where the weight of the snow brought trees down onto power lines, which sparked a fire. You can see it there beyond the trees.
Similar scene in Sherman where you can see power lines burning last night, and you can probably say you saw something similar to this if you were out and about in your town last night. Right now, we want to show you something that's a really interesting comparison. We're 2 months removed from Tropical Storm Irene. The outages from Irene in late August versus the outages right now in October in Connecticut.
We have this map to show you. Check out the peak of the outages during Irene. Now you can see the northeast corner of the state, Windham and New London County, heavily battered. Some parts of the state were left in the dark for 7 days.
Today, that statewide map looks like a mirror image. Most of the towns that are almost completely in the dark, 81 to 100%, the towns in black, are in the north and west part of the state. You can almost draw a line of Interstate 84 there as a line of demarcation for the towns that are most impacted by outages. Litchfield County, Hartford County, and Tolland County have the most towns that are completely in the dark.
And now if you are without power this morning, we know a lot of people are, and you're cold and need a place.
NBC Connecticut, we have you covered on that end.
For now, let's turn things over to meteorologist Ryan Hanrahan, who's been tracking the storm for days now. Ryan, give us the latest on totals.
Yeah, what a storm. This is absolutely incredible. Let's take a look at the numbers. The highest being in Litchfield County, where the snow is a little bit fluffier than in portions of central Connecticut, but still an incredibly difficult to move pasting of snow across the state. 22 inches in Colebrook, 20 in Morris, 15 in New Milford, 15 in Watertown, 14 in Wolcott. As you move towards central Connecticut, Windsor locks at 12.3, Oxford at 12.3, West Hartford 12, Durham 11, Vernon 9 inches, about 9 inches also in Wallingford, 6 in Lisbon, 5 in Woodstock, 4 in Iverton, 4 in Bridgeport, and 2 inches down in Groton. So snow in October is not very common, that's for sure. We've only had measurable snow 3 times in recorded history. This is the 4th time. The biggest time before this, 1.7 inches of snow on October 10th, 1979. We blew that one out of the water, that's for sure. The old state record we also blew out of the water, which was 9.5 inches on October 4th, 1987. We saw some spots over 20 inches with this storm. And the 12.3 inches at Bradley Airport is the earliest foot of snow. The earliest foot of snow before this was 12 inches back in December 6th of 2003. So we were able to beat that record by 38 days. So even in November, we've never seen a storm this big across a good chunk of the interior. And I mean, that is just a mind-boggling from how the weather changes from November 1st to November 30th. That's a mind-blowing stat that we were able to do before October 30th.
Yeah, pretty incredible stuff. You know, we've talked with Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel. Ryan and I have been kind of, bantering back and forth. The scope of this storm from Maryland and Virginia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, all of New England.
Yeah.
To be affected by this, just incredible storm from 31 inches of snow in Jaffrey to 3 million people without power right now. It just is mind-boggling. There are really winters where, as snow lovers, we die for a foot of snow. It could be the middle of January and we're struggling with the dead grass and little gray snow piles. We're like, wouldn't it be nice to get a foot of snow? Well, to get it on October 30th, 29th and 30th is just unreal. This may be a little bit of good news, but the previous biggest October storm, the 1.7 inches in 1979, the 79-80 winter was one of the best winters in Connecticut if you don't like the snow. We had 16 inches of snow the entire winter. So a snow drought, and it was probably accompanied by milder than normal temperatures. Not that we're saying that's going to happen this time around. Fingers crossed, but what an incredible storm. Really, we will, this is one of those storms, along with Irene, that I think both of us will remember for the rest of our careers. And this year, I'd also throw in probably the January blizzard and the tornado up in Western Mass. We started the year with buildings collapsing under the weight of snow, and now we're finishing up fall with an incredible historic storm. You got, of course, the Springfield tornadoes. We've had severe weather around our state, the wettest August, in some cases the wettest summer in general. Just unreal. And then Irene. Can't forget about Irene and Lee, which combined to soak us with incredible flooding. The power outage is going to be a big problem. If you listen to the governor's press conference, he said that, and CLMP said, there were problems with transmission lines, not just distribution lines, which wasn't a problem in Irene. And pay attention to that. That is going to be a big issue, unfortunately, going forward. So good luck to people who are trying to clean up from this storm. It's going to be a real mess out there. Sure is. Back to you guys. All right.